Naming molecular compounds. So binary molecular compounds contain two nonmetals, or a nonmetal and a metalloid. First, you want to write the name for the first element using a prefix if there's more than one element. So this is important. Then you're going to write the stem of the second element with the suffix IDE and use a prefix to indicate the number of atoms for the second element. So carbon monoxide. You just say carbon, you don't say monocarbon. Here's all of our prefixes. So when we're talking about one, we typically use mono unless it's the first word of the name. If it's the first word of the name, the first element, we do not put mono. So there's one carbon, so we just say carbon because that's the first name. There's one oxygen, so we're putting monoxide. CO2, again, it starts with carbon, and there's only one carbon, but since it's the first word, we just say carbon. And then there's two oxygen, so we're going to say dioxide. So when we name two nonmetals, we're going to use the prefixes method. So here's some examples, and the prefixes are right here. So we see that there are two phosphorus. So we're going to put the prefix for two, di, phosphorus. And then there's 5 oxygen, so we're going to do pentoxide. There's 1 sulfur, so we're just going to write the word sulfur. And there's 6 fluorines. So 6 is hexa, fluoride. There's 2 sulfur, so we're going to put disulfur. And there's 2 chlorides, dichloride. There's 1 silicon, and there's 4 chlorides, so tetra chloride. So what did I do here? I named the first element. If there was more than one, then I put a prefix. If there's just one, then I did not put a prefix. Then I named the second element. With the second element, you're going to put the prefix no matter how many there are. So if there's 1 or 10, you're going to put the prefix. Then you're going to use the stem of the word with the IDE ending. So why did we call this pentoxide? Because the pent part is the prefix. Ox is referring to oxygen, and it has that IDE ending. Why did we put hexafluoride? Hexa is the prefix, fluor is the stem, and ide is that IDE ending. So these are much simpler to name. They have a very straightforward naming mechanism. I would like you to pause the video and work through these different examples. Please do not Google the answers. Actually work through them using the systematic names and prefixes, just like you were taught. And then we'll unpause and I'll go through the answers. Okay, so the first one, we have carbon dioxide. There's 2 oxygen, so this is carbon dioxide. Now there's 1 oxygen on this one, this is carbon monoxide. This one is sulfur dioxide. This is sulfur trioxide. This is dinitrogen monoxide. NO is just nitrogen monoxide. N2O3 is dinitrogen trioxide. NO2 is nitrogen dioxide. Dinitrogen tetroxide. And dinitrogen pentoxide. So hopefully you got those all correct using the rules that we just went through. Arsenic pentachloride, AsCl5. V2V5, divanadium, vanadium 4 oxide. So this was actually a trick. I even tricked myself. Vanadium. Go to the periodic table and find the letter V. And where is V located on the periodic table? Correct. It's a transition metal. Now with transition metals, there's likely to be more than one form. So for this one, we actually have to flip up our charges. And this becomes V5 and O 2-. Is this the true charge of the oxide anion? Yes. So now we get vanadium 5 oxide. So this is an example of an ionic compound, which is why we did not use prefixes. We have a metal and a nonmetal, so that's ionic.